the direction I wanted to be because YouTube is the worst. Yes,
Why
exactly.
are you gay? Who's gay? YouTube is gay.
Why is it that every time I log into YouTube, it's like, hey, you should try YouTube Premium, or your YouTube Premium or your YouTube TV account has expired. You should. I never had that. It expired. You're just a liar.
Yes.
Okay.
They're just a liar.
Can you hear us?
Don't even think about it. I will.
Oh my gosh. Wait, how can they hear me so good? Oh my
Listen.
God, I'm gonna lose it.
This is great. We're live. Come in.
Yeah, we have the mics.
I know. So I should be muffled and far away. I know. So I should be muffled and far away. Y'all are wearing the damn mics.
Yes, Brenda. Lauren is loud and clear.
Are the mics turned on?
Yes, I'm literally receiving. I can see it receiving the audio. It is plugged into my phone.
There's no light on my mic. Now there's
No.
light on my mic.
No, look, TJ. Doses.
Check.
Oh, it's pulling it.
Check.
Chickadee check.
Yeah.
Try again.
Well, maybe you should plug that into
Hello.
the computer. Are you running through OBS?
Hello.
Okay.
This is the best.
You sound far away. You don't.
Hey, y'all. We're having technical difficulties.
Best information, worst production quality.
Here we go. Yay! You guys can be heard.
Hi, welcome to the Refuge Report. It's Thursday morning. You probably turn your volume down now.
Wow. Hey, I just wanted confirmation. You are louder. So.
I am louder. I'm louder than most of the people that I know, except for J.A. Dudley.
Radio Made Easy is in the
Mo better.
Oh, love that guy.
What's up, dude?
He will be standing where we are sitting this Sunday and Monday for the oversold Zero to Hero radio class. And we keep getting the question of like, when's the next class? I don't know. I'm going to talk to Evan about that while he's here. And like, we're going to sync calendars and find a day that works because he's busy and we're busy. Praise y'all for all of that.
Dude, super busy on both sides.
Yeah, it's
For
awesome.
sure.
And it's one of the things when I'm not marketing to you when I say, go ahead and sign up for class, because these classes sell out. And then people are like, when's the next time you're doing this? It's like, I don't know, Q1 2026.
Yeah.
And then they're heartbroken. So if you have the availability of time to come to class, understanding that that's the largest investment that people are going to make is the time and the travel. If you have the ability to come to class, just do it. Just do it. If you need to get your brother, your friend, your wife, your kid, your neighbor, your pastor to come with you, okay, cool. Just do it. We had this past Sunday, we trained here, and it was awesome.
It was a great training.
It was a great training. And we had people here from Washington State, Connecticut, Georgia, Mississippi, Texas, local Oklahoma-ish. We had one guy from North Dakota. Like,
Oof.
Yeah, oofta. It's not, my point is, it's not close. And there's this, I see this little thing happening. I can see the trends. Pattern recognition is one of my things. Maybe it's because I'm a drummer, or maybe I'm a drummer because of the pattern recognition brain. I don't know, causation versus correlation. But Camden, Tennessee is like a tactical mecca, right? Because of tactical response. And it's gotten to the point where like people from all over the world would travel to Camden, Tennessee in order to come and train. maybe swing by SOE, pick up a new chest rig or a belt or whatever, right? And see John and Amanda. It's starting, we're in the infancy of that here in little old Spiro, Oklahoma, where people from all over the country, and we've had Canadians, we've had Germans, we've had South Africans, we've had Australians come to class to come and train here. We had one gentleman that was in class on Sunday, this past Sunday. Yeah, that probably doesn't help because, oh, well, no, you're good. You turned away from the microphone. Good job.
First thing I did was look down. Like, where's
I
it
put
at?
my mic on my left, so I was like, that probably didn't help. But we had one gentleman who was in class whose real-world resume is 13 pages long, single-spaced to bullet points.
Yes.
And we were chatting after class, and I was like, honest opinion, what did you think? And he goes, man, you guys packed more into one day than what most people put in 2 or 3 days.
Yeah.
It goes, just absolutely incredible class, the way you taught it. You know, you went deep on the stuff that matters. You didn't waste time going deep on the stuff that doesn't matter. And then people learn by doing. It's the experiences, how people retain information. And so coupling lecture and practical application with scenario-based training is how you cement it in. And so
he had the same compliments that Doc had yesterday.
Yeah.
That, you know, multiple witnesses.
You mean our new medical director?
Yeah.
At Refuge Medical?
Yes.
Guy who's all the way been there and done all the things?
Just a fantastic human being.
Yeah.
It's really cool we have a medical director.
It's really cool we have a medical director. And it's also, it's pretty validating. See, I've been going through, I've built a lot of curriculum here lately, especially on the private class side. So, we had a pre-existing law enforcement TCCC curriculum. So took that curriculum, revamped it. It's based upon the United States Marine Corps Tactical Combat Casualty Care, adapted that for officers, and codified all of that, built that out into curriculum where it clearly states what the TLO's terminal learning objectives are, defines the scenarios, TLOs and teaching points, down to programmatic PT, right?
Yeah.
And what the deliverables are, even with the PT, what we're trying to accomplish there. So I hand that to Doc, who's a legitimate doctor and was a doctor for all the cool guys out in the desert doing cool guy stuff for the last 20 years.
Yeah.
And say, hey, look at this. And it's almost like, it's like when your kid draws you a picture, you know, they're trying to see whether or not you're going to hang it on the fridge,
Yes.
you know,
Yes.
and he's just flipping through it, looking at it, and he goes, taps the papers, he goes, this is good. I'm like, oh, thanks, Doc.
Such a great analogy.
Yeah, so that's cool. And so we've been going through each curriculum, of which we have 8 curriculums, curriculi, and going through it with a fine-tooth comb and improving everything that we've already got. So it's encouraging to see from a training standpoint the growth, because we do make the best first aid kits on planet Earth, and the reason they're the best is because of real-world experience.
Yeah. They're tried and true.
But we're an education and instruction company that also has first aid kits.
That's right.
So it's awesome to see the blossoming growth of the education and instruction there.
Yeah.
I don't know how we got on the training. We got on the training. You
I
were
brought up Doc.
Doc. Yeah, you were training in the restroom earlier with your chest rig.
I was. I'm not going to use the same jokes, but you know, always be training, right?
You know, it's see. Is it funny? Yes, but there's a whole subset of people who using the restroom in your gear is in of itself a skill.
It really is.
Legitimately, in of itself a skill. And then there's probably a fair number of people who are listening who are going, what?
Right.
Why would you ever have to poop in a chest rig? It's like,
okay, so I
could think of 100 reasons.
think of it this way, so I have medical gear. This is the Refuge Medical OpFac that is dangling from my chest rig, right? So all things considered, Well, I'm sitting down. This is between my legs. So you have to use your imagination,
technique.
modify your technique, try to figure out how to get this out of the way, and it don't go up very far, right? So you got to train. You got to learn how to use what you have in whatever moment you're in, and work around and modify and do all of these things. And you're like, well, the only way you're going to figure that out is by doing it. Does this work? Yeah, it works. Is it ideal? Not really. Can I figure something out? Most likely.
You can do it. I believe in you.
You can do it.
Oh my goodness. Heath has a chest rig on as an example of wilderness responder kit that will be required in August, says Bertrand. True. That's part of the, you don't have to have a chest rig for wilderness responder.
It is encouraged, but it's not necessary.
That's not mine. Well, I mean, technically it's mine. I own the inventory. This one is mine.
That one has plastic on the plastic.
Yeah, there's microplastics on my microplastics. I saw a meme yesterday. There was like a frog in a yoga pose with like a lotus flower above it, and it's like doing the Om thing, and it said the microplastics in me honor the microplastics in you, and I was like, that's about perfect for 2025.
That's so ridiculous.
Anyway, you don't have to have a chest rig for wilderness responder, but after you've set up, after we've made camp, do you want to keep carrying your rucksack around? Probably not. Probably not.
Yeah, so I weighed myself,
Mm-hmm.
and I went from 191
Uh-huh.
to 247 pounds.
Okay. So that's 56 pounds right there.
Right.
Yep.
That's just ruck.
That's the ruck.
I did not have this on.
Okay. Yeah. So you're easily in the 70-pound range, 75-pound
Right.
range. You had chest rig and rifle in.
And the only thing that's lacking out of that bag is food, which my MREs are in the truck,
Mm-hmm.
and my sleeping pad.
There's a box of them at the office too.
You mind if I grab some?
Snag some.
Awesome.
They're-
Appreciate that.
The MREs.
Oh, yeah.
They're they got
There's
put
some
in.
good ones in there.
Yeah. They're low sodium now. For whatever reason, a few years ago, the low sodium MREs were like surplus, and they were like pennies on the dollar. And so I bought several cases of them at that
Nice.
time. But you'll need sodium for electrolyte replacement
100%.
while in the field for wilderness responders. So just bear that in mind.
Yeah.
Because part of how we manage the uptake of fluids, because most food is about 60-70% water, and sodium is by eating, not just by drinking, but by eating. Well, those are low sodium MREs, so make sure you have additional salts with you.
Yep.
Because you're going to be getting less sodium out of those than you normally would.
100%.
But back to chest rig. For wilderness responder, you don't have to have a chest rig, but my approach here is a layered approach. It's one of the teaching points that we'll be talking about during wilderness responder is after camp is made, I don't want to be carrying my rucksack around if I don't have to. And so chest rig on the front with my tools and my med in it, stuff I'm gonna need. And then sling bag with, the wilderness responder trainer kit is a sling bag. So on my chest rig, I got a quart of water already. I'm gonna lash another quart or two of water to my sling bag.
Yeah.
And then I'm up. We can move about the training area, and I've got the things on me that I need to do my practicals with, that I need to teach with, without carrying the giant rucksack on my back.
Right.
Because why induce even more heat stress?
I mean, think about it. I've got a cutting tool.
Mhm.
Yes, I do have mags, but I've got medical on me. I've got compass. I've got a pen and paper. I've got, random things that I need. I've got chem lights here in this pouch, but I've also got hydration on me.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got,
Yep.
in any given moment, whatever I need, I've
Yep.
got it. I'm good.
Yep.
Without 57 pounds on my back.
100%. There was a guy on Instagram, I think yesterday, I posted a picture just for accountability purposes of, hey, this is me in the heat of the day in Oklahoma out with my rucksack on so that I'm not part of the problem. at wilderness responder.
Yeah.
And guy said, worst effective, I'm an ultralight hiker. I'd love to see the loadout. I bet you I could get it down to 20 pounds. Sure, you probably could. But for everything, there are compromises.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you an example. I don't care how much my mosquito net weighs.
Right.
I'm bringing my mosquito net.
Yeah.
You are required on the packing list to have a minimum of 1 gallon of water in containers that are filled. That's a safety issue when it's August in Oklahoma, okay? And by noon, that gallon of water will be expended.
Yeah.
Just fact. So by noon, that gallon of water will be gone, which is why one of the teaching points is get water.
Yep.
Because most people think like, oh yeah, I can get water. I've got my Nalgene, my Camelback, my quart canteens, whatever it is, my water bags. Water bags are super handy in a non-dynamic situation.
100%.
They will rip and break and get pressure on them and burst in the field.
Yep.
So get water. You've got your vessel and you've got your filter, but have you ever used it? And how long did it take? And did you have to pull security while you were getting water?
Right.
And does everybody need to get water? Or do 2 guys with an empty rucksack need to fill all the water containers while everybody else pulls security? And what point do we do that?
Yeah.
All these little things, right? And so, yeah, it's a wilderness medicine class, but the tactics that go into it are really important.
Right.
And so, I don't want to be carrying around the rucksack all day. Could you get the rucksack down to 20 pounds? You could, but there's a lot of compromises in there.
Think about a gallon of water is 8 pounds.
Uh-huh.
I have part of my weight is I've got 2 gallons of water.
100%. And then you have the weight of the vessels,
100%.
right? Whatever you're
'Cause
carrying
I've
it
got
in.
2 of those, and I've got a large Yeti,
Uh-huh.
which is the same material, almost like an Nalgene.
Mm-hmm.
That's like 64
Ounces. So that's 2 quart. Yeah.
And then a 3-liter water bladder on my back,
Mm-hmm.
and then this right here.
Mm-hmm.
So all in,
Yeah.
that's right at 2 gallons.
Yep. And so that's 16 pounds before the weight of the vessels.
Exactly.
You're probably 18, 20 pounds right there just in water.
Right.
And so,
But it will be drank.
and like another thing, I don't want to be in a caloric deficit while I'm doing this because it's going to be high output. We're going to be training in the field for 3 days. So the calories that I have with me equate to about 4,000 calories a day.
Absolutely.
Now, if you sit down and OMAD 4,000 calories one shot in the field in the summer of Oklahoma, you're gonna feel terrible. You might have to get rolled from class. But to be grazing and eating throughout the day, I think I'll have a scoop of peanut butter here, I'll eat a Cliff Bar here, hand it full of peanuts here,
Yep.
maybe bust out an MRE here, blah, 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 blah. I don't want to be in a caloric deficit, so part of my weight as well is food.
Yeah.
Add in sleep kit. Like I said, I'm not coming off of my mosquito net. That's an indicator for everybody who's coming to class. I live here. We train here. We do internal and external training on this property that we're going to be training on. So like we train there, and then we also train people there.
Right.
If I'm bringing a mosquito net, that's probably an indicator for you. So could you get it to 20 pounds? I actually don't think with that packing list it's possible to get it to 20 pounds.
Not with that specific packing list.
Yep.
Because every component within that packing list has a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And there's intent behind it. So all things considered, you're not going, because the minimum requirement between everything considered, just taking water for example, is 1 gallon of water on your person within your pack.
Yep.
That's 8 pounds. So everything else within that packing list, it's impossible to get. And adding in a few ounces for your container or containers,
Mm-hmm.
getting that within 10 pounds with the remainder of the packing list, you're not going to do it.
No.
And one of them is an e-tool.
Yep. Got to have it.
that your poop shovel?
Yep.
That's the poop shovel.
Yep. There's a Torah for this. You will carry a pointed implement upon you.
Right.
It's a thing because nobody wants to step in your poo. That's just gross. Okay. And so you got to dig a hole, dig a cat hole.
You have to learn to be sanitary out.
Yep. And vectors for disease, Army Field Manual on this, flies, fingers, feces, food, and fluids.
Right.
Okay. So flies are attracted to the feces. If you get any feces on your fingers, then you touch food or fluids, all of that. Now we have a real world situation because you suck at pooping in the woods.
Right. Which,
So,
you know,
And all of a sudden
something
you
is.
got like the tummy rumbles and you're puking and you're already dehydrated.
Yep.
And believe me, it's really hot out here and humid.
Yeah, and that I want to hit on this thing one more time. I think a lot of people think, I did before I moved here, because I've worked all through Oklahoma, especially western Oklahoma, the western half of the state. The wind turbines and Highline in the western half of the state, I was instrumental in putting there.
Yeah.
Okay, when we found this place, my wife found this place. She was like, "Babe, it's awesome. There's trees and mountains and streams and everything is green." And I'm like, "In Oklahoma? No." We are part of what's called the Arkansas River Valley, where we are right here. This part of Oklahoma is not desert. This part of Oklahoma is jungle.
Yep.
And so this is not coyote tan or multicam territory, although I don't care what color your camo is. I'm not saying you got to buy all new gear to come to class. It doesn't
Right.
matter.
Multicam does still work. It's just not the ideal for this environment.
This part of Oklahoma.
Maybe in winter for sure, but
Yeah. Yeah, late fall, winter, when everything starts to brown out a bit.
yeah.
But this part of Oklahoma is Marpat woodland, ranger green, OD green.
Yeah.
And I bring up the difference between desert and jungle because in desert, we're going to have high heat, low humidity.
Yeah.
In jungle, we're going to have high heat, high humidity. And so down to literally the kind of socks that you wear inside of your boots matters.
100%.
Like all of the little details matter because at 75 to 80% humidity, you lose the ability for the body to cool through evaporation.
Yep.
It's so humid that your sweat no longer evaporates. That greatly increases the likelihood of heat stress because I no longer have evaporative cooling. Part of how your body cools itself, your body's a swamp cooler, right? And so we sweat, and that sweat gets on the little hairs that you have all over your body, and then it evaporates. And as it evaporates, that evaporative cooling pulls heat away from the surface of your skin. So all your little veins and capillaries are moving. Part of what the blood does, we talk about this in class, is it definitely carries oxygen around the body.
Yeah.
Clean CO2 brings that back to the lungs for your respiration, inhaling oxygen, expelling CO2, right? But it also moves body heat around the body.
Yeah.
And so when we have excess body heat, hyperthermia, the blood vessels, that's why people get red when they're hot. That's increased blood flow to the surface of their skin to radiate that heat off, and then also to sweat, and then the evaporative cooling pulls heat away from the surface of the skin.
Yep.
That doesn't work. That bodily function doesn't work at 75+% humidity, which is common in Oklahoma where we are. And so,
Weren't we above 75 the other day? Wasn't
yeah,
it like-
80-some percent, yeah.
Because Beartron just said Michigan is more jungle than Oklahoma. Oklahoma was nice to hike. I don't know what month you were here, but right now the air is thick. If you step outside, it's thick. Like
Well-
legitimately thick.
Well, when he was here for night responder, and that was Labor Day weekend, so September the 1st, which is the same weekend that we're doing wilderness responder, but it was unseasonably cool the night of night responder,
Yeah.
and praise the Most High, we had breezes that night.
Oh my gosh, yes. it was
Typically in Oklahoma,
fantastic.
we don't have breezes, which goes back to that evaporative cooling effect, right? You want to get, if somebody is overheating, we want to get them, typically we don't want a casualty wet, but in summer, we want them wet because of that evaporative cooling effect.
Yep.
And then you're going to take whatever you got, like ice packs or ice from a cooler or cold packs, whatever we have, You put them on their chest, over their heart, put them in their armpits, put them in their groin, the cheeks of the face, and the back of the neck, right? All that, those are primary areas where the body is losing body heat from when somebody's hyperthermic overheated, right? But that evening of night responder was nice and cool. I was in like full battle rattle. We all were. Everybody was. You know, long sleeve combat shirt, BDUs, pants tucked, you know, blasting in my
I rocked
boots.
it all out with my plate carrier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a nice night.
Yeah.
That's not a common Oklahoma night, you know, daylight, low light period in August. And my hope is, now hope's not a method, but my hope is that we have the same type of weather this year for wilderness responder. But I've lived in Oklahoma, this part of Oklahoma, for 7 years, and that's a very uncommon thing.
Because the reality is, you know, the hottest portion of the year for us is always end of August into September.
Yep.
It's proverbial. Every time it's just stinking hot. But with that said, there's a table matrix that you know, indicates like temperature versus humidity. You know, the higher the temperature and the higher the humidity, that puts you in what is considered like a red zone. So if we're 91 degrees, which is probably an average, but the humidity is 75%, the feels like it's 124 or 125 degrees.
Yep.
And then you add maybe 5% humidity or 5 degrees to the temperature, you're in the black.
Yep.
Like it literally feels like you're in an oven, 130 degrees, 135 degrees, and it can happen quick. So all things considered, whenever we're telling you, hey, water, it's important, you need that water.
Electrolytes,
sodium,
it's important.
Magnesium, potassium, you need those. You don't need them, you require them.
Yep.
So.
And I would also say this, if you're bringing, you have to bring a compass to class. If you're coming to class, there's certain blocks of instruction that will require it.
Yeah.
I'd get at least familiar, ideally decent. You don't have to be an expert. I'm not asking you to find a 10-digit grid coordinate, but I would at least get passingly familiar with my compass, because a little birdie told me that there may be some battlefield pickup during this exercise that would significantly increase your comfortability throughout the training class. So
100%.
Yeah, and
that would be super nice.
That would be super nice. And maps will be provided to each student as part of what we will provide to you when you come to class. So when we talk about wilderness responder, this is like an event. This is a training event. Compass. And
I just shot an azimuth.
Good for you. And so with this event, if we look at all the stacking TLOs here, number one, and I learned this from Saw, training begins when you receive the packing list. Okay, so you sign up for class, you get the packing list, which is posted on the website. You just go read go to the wilderness responder listing under the training tab at refugemedical.com and look at the packing list. Okay, then start packing that. All right, figure out how you're going to distribute this gear. What is the weight? Ounces equals pounds, pounds equal pain, right? So what in here did I think that I need was a nice to have that I'm going to ditch because this sucker's already heavy,
right?
Et cetera, et cetera. And then start doing the PT and acclimatization now so you don't die literally when you come to class, okay? So all that is pre-training for the training. And you get to training, which starts with the loadout. And if you forgot one thing on the list, I cannot allow you to continue because everything on the list is there from a safety standpoint.
One thing on the required list.
Required list.
Not the optional list.
Not the optional. But if you have 3 quarts of water instead of 4, sorry. Why? Because you've been given months to prepare for this, and attention to detail matters.
Yeah.
So one of the TLOs there is attention to detail. Can you follow direction? Because with months of preparation, you failed to follow direction, and we go into a real world scenario for 3 days, that means that you are more likely to become a real world casualty, which detracts from the training value of every other student who is there.
Right.
Okay, so we start with a layout, then we're going to ruck into, carrying all of our stuff, into where we're gonna set up camp. During that time, we will be doing some compass and map work. Okay, cool. A little bit of checking everybody's conditioning as well. Then we get to where we're gonna make camp. Now we have to make camp.
Yeah.
What does that look like? What is the layout there? And just from a comfortability standpoint, from a logistics standpoint, from a security standpoint, and all the little subtasks that go into make camp. Do I have my cordage? Do I know how to tie knots? Do I know how to put up a tarp? And some of y'all, the answer to that is de facto yes, done it a million times.
Yep.
Some of y'all have never done it before. This is not a pass-fail. This is an opportunity for you to use your gear in a real-world scenario, real-world situation, along with cadre, where if you're like, I don't know I've never set up a tarp shelter. Okay, cool. Here, let us help you with that. I like mine this way. I typically do a modified A-frame or real close to the ground, depending on what I've got going on. If it's cold and windy, my tarp is about 18 inches above the ground and the rest of it's pinned to the ground. And why? Dead airspace management.
Yep.
It's nice and tight underneath of there, so it reflects my body heat back on me. Versus in the summer, I want that sucker high, so I get more shade and I'm not trapping heat and hot air underneath of it. And so we can have that conversation, right? And then at this point, it's like we begin to teach through the curriculum. We hit noon, everybody's out of water. Now we got to go get water.
Yeah.
So what does that look like? Blah, 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 blah. Well, teaching the curriculum the whole time. And what's cool is at the end of day 3, if you want to be accredited in wilderness medicine through ECSI, which this is an accredited class, there's 36 hours of curriculum that has to be taught, that will be taught during this 3 days, 2 nights. And by the way, it's Oklahoma and it's really hot during the day. Do you think we're teaching at night? Yeah. Yep. I would just get comfortable with the idea of sleep deprivation now. Okay?
Rick S., the medical pack that will be provided to you for the training, that will be yours if you take the class. That is what, nine and a half pounds?
Loaded, fully loaded.
So that's 9.5 pounds on top of your ruck, on top of your chest rig, so on and so forth. On top of all the things, you're going to be adding 10 pounds.
Yep.
Expect that.
So at the end of class, there's a written exam. That written exam will be proctored by Refuge Cadre based upon the ECSI 36-hour comprehensive wilderness medicine curriculum that we're teaching, 3 days, 2 nights in the field. If you pass that exam, congratulations. If you wanted to, that's step 1 of a, is it associate, bachelor's
It's
degree?
an associate's.
It's an associate's degree from the University of Utah in wilderness medicine.
Yeah.
So this is not just T and Heath had a good idea, we should go hang out in the woods for 3 days class.
Yeah.
This is an accredited curriculum. And what's amazing to me, as far as like normalcy bias is concerned, wilderness medicine is defined as any pre-hospital care that takes place more than 1 hour from definitive elevated level of care, okay? So what does that mean? Explain to me like I'm 5. It means anything you do to treat or stabilize a patient that's more than 1 hour from a hospital.
Yep.
How many of you listening right now are more than 1 hour from a hospital? When I'm at my house, not here at Refuge, but when I'm at my house, I'm more than an hour from a hospital. There is one closer, but people only go there to die. And so we don't take patients there.
Yeah, it's not a great one.
No, it's not a great hospital. It's government run, imagine that.
Photos?
Yep,
Was it really?
yeah.
Yeah.
Tribal government run,
Oh.
It's not.
yeah.
Well, we waited at Mercy for 5 hours. He had glass in his throat.
Swallow harder.
Thought I did, man.
And that's not to take away from the people at Poto. I know some of the people over at Poto Hospital, they're good people.
Yeah.
But in quiet settings without management around, they will look over both shoulders and go, it's bad here. Okay, thank you for letting me know. And we've made efforts to coordinate with them to train a few times, and leadership is just like, no, we're good. I don't think you are, but whatever. And here's another thing. We were talking to Doc about this yesterday. Hospital staff, and in most cases, pre-hospital staff, professional emergency services, EMTs, paramedics, don't get trained on trauma. Trauma's critical bleeds. They don't get trained on that.
They're severely and woefully underprepared.
We've had ER docs, trauma nurses, EMTs, paramedics come take our entry-level civilian class and go, this is amazing. Thank you so much.
Right.
And in my brain, I'm like, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
Like, you're the guy. You're the girl. Why are you here?
Yeah.
They go, oh, nobody ever taught us this.
How many times have we heard, I learned more in 4 hours than I did throughout the entire time I was going to school for this?
Mm-hmm. And that's
red flag.
It's not to toot our own horn. It's to illustrate that there's a gap in professional medicine.
100%.
When it comes to trauma.
Yes.
Trauma is massive hemorrhage, critical bleeding, which is the #1 modality of death. Okay, it's 90% of the March algorithm, and it's not being trained. Airway management and respiratory, that's 7%. You get a good paramedic, they're good at airway management.
Yeah.
They're good at respiratory. But what do we do about keeping the blood inside the body? And so
there's a vast disparity between what first responder professionals should know versus what they actually do know.
Rauren?
We had a question. Sky asked if you guys sleep on the ground. And I know we've had some people say they want to bring hammocks. Trees might be.
So I'll answer that where to sleep question here momentarily. But I want to just hit one more thing. I was on the phone 2 days ago with a fire chief, and they have a combined fire and EMS program in this municipality. Fire chief's great guy. He came from a major metropolitan area, retired out of that major metropolitan area, and then moved to this smaller town outside of this major metropolitan area. And we're talking because we're going to be training several dozen of these firefighters / EMTs / paramedics, which is super cool, right? Mm-hmm. Praise Yah, they're signed up to train. And so we're talking through what the curriculum looks like. And I said, we're going to be teaching March. I'm sure you're familiar with March. And he goes, actually, no.
Never heard of it.
Never heard of it. Okay. Well, March replaced ABC, airway, breathing, circulation, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
20 years ago. And this is not a knock on that fire chief. He's a good guy. He's bringing his guys to class so that they can get up to speed. But in many cases, pre-hospital care is still stuck in 20-year-old information, which is why many of these boys and girls out there riding around in the ambulances don't know trauma.
Yeah.
When it's 90% of the problem. They're just not equipped for it. So
back to your initial statement, they're great at airway.
Yep.
But stopping the bleed?
Yeah. Well, and the Stop the Bleed protocol is the National Stop the Bleed protocol is a great place to start.
Yeah.
But if our training never involves taking the tourniquet out of the wrapper and applying it, we're not training. 100%. We're in death by PowerPoint mode. We don't actually possess these skills.
Yeah.
Now, to Sky's question about where we're going to sleep. Where we will camp, there are trees that can be used to support a hammock. The area that I picked in order for us to camp was done, I chose that area specifically because we have top cover from the canopy there without a whole bunch of undergrowth. However, I did not say with no undergrowth. You'll note on the packing list, a folding saw is part of the packing list. Number one, you may need to clear an area for your poncho hooch, your hammock, your tent, whatever you got going on. Number two, part of the bushcrafty construction stuff that we're going to get into as far as moving a casualty is concerned in wilderness medicine, it's very handy to have a folding saw. So, and then there's also the issue of fire making, because part of get water may be make fire. Part of signaling may be make fire. It's going to be, heat index of 124. What do I need fire for? Lots of things, but a whole bunch of different things fire is very useful for. So that, we'll get into another TLO here. Make fire.
Yeah.
Okay. How are you going to make fire? Well, I have all these different things that I can make fire with. Cool. Show me. Do it.
Badger, we're praying for you, brother.
I was about to say, Mrs. Badger's in the hospital right now with abdominal pain.
Oh.
Let's do it now.
Let's do it. Good morning, Father Yahoo. Father, you know Badger and you know Mrs. Badger, and I know you know them because they know you.
Yeah.
Father, you are sovereign over all things, including and especially our physical bodies. So I pray that you be with Mrs. Badger right now with this abdominal pain. Father, let it be just something silly, gas or something like that, Father, let us all laugh about this later. Please minister to her and be with all the medical professionals, and let your spirit be indwelt in this situation for the preservation of life.
Yes.
That this would just be a witness and a testimony, just another cool story about how absolutely sovereign you are. Father, smile on them today, and remember your kiddos, Badger and Mrs. Badger, and be near to them and bring them comfort and healing in Yeshua's name. Amen.
Amen.
So sleeping, I would not recommend in any circumstance that you sleep directly on the ground. In summer in Oklahoma, from a heat transfer standpoint, that would be great. See, heat moves in the direction of mass, and the Earth is significantly larger than we are.
Yeah.
And so it's going to draw body heat away from you. This is why dogs in summer dig down into the dirt and lay in the fresh dirt. It's to pull body heat away from them. It's why homeless people in winter sleep on top of cardboard and newspapers. It goes back to dead airspace management. Damn. Every warming layer that you wear is just trapping air against your body, and that air is the insulator. All the insulation in the walls of your home or office, whatever it might be, whether it's spray foam or it's fiberglass or it's wool or whatever it is, all that is trapping air. It's keeping the air from moving. It's why we use Tyvek house wrap. It's a barrier, non-permeable barrier, so that the air doesn't move, so that the air that's staying in the walls creates a thermal gap in between, in the summer, the hot air outside and the cool air inside.
Right.
In the winter, the cold air outside and the warm air inside.
It's exactly how a thermos works.
Exactly, an insulated bottle, right?
Yeah.
And so on my kit is a USMC folding ground pad. It's what, 3/8 of an inch thick, 1/2 an inch thick?
Yeah.
Aspen asked me the other day, she goes, Daddy, is it comfy to sleep on that? I'm like, well, it's not nearly as comfortable as your mattress is, but it's way better than a rock in the kidney.
100%.
But it also puts that little bit of air in between you and the ground, so you don't have thermal transfer from you / a patient / a casualty into the ground.
Yep.
And so when we're trying to mitigate hypothermia, we want dead airspace in between the patient and the ground. In summer in Oklahoma, you'd think, I want my body heat to go into the ground. But what you don't want are ticks, spiders, scorpions, snakes, all those other things.
Mm-hmm.
All the wonderful flora and fauna. Or here's a whole nother thing. I'd get really good at knowing what poison ivy, poison oak looks like. Yep.
Done that recently.
Yep. Me too. Me too. I asked him this morning. She goes, Daddy, what's on the tip of my nose? And I was like, oh gosh, here we go again. I was like, what were you doing? Were you like beating a path through the brush recently? Like, how?
Probably.
How?
Poison ivy out here is insane. Like when you find those trees where it's been for a long time,
Yep.
the vine is this thick. With
There's
it,
ropes of it on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
growing
Yep.
up. And then
So-
they say, like, you can't cut it, you can't burn it. Well, what the heck do you do?
So
with it?
I'll tell you what you do with it, or I'll tell you what I do with it. I take an axe, and then so we have ropes of poison ivy that climb trees here.
Yeah,
Uh,
they're
easily
easily bigger than
inch
that
and a
in
half, 2 inches in
diameter.
diameter. Some of them are this diameter of this Nalgene bottle if it's
Oh,
an
yeah.
older tree. I take an axe and I cut it about 2 foot up from the ground, and then I cut it again about 3 or 4 feet up from the ground. So I'm putting a gap, a foot or two in
Yeah.
between the root system and the vine. And then I don't cut it, check this out, I don't cut it so high that my sheep can't get to it. And I graze my sheep through there, and they will literally rip it off of the trees, drag it down, and eat all the greenery, eat the roots, all of it, and they will,
Serious?
I'm dead serious, they love it. They're completely unaffected. Sheep are amazing,
Yeah, they are.
completely unaffected by it.
But they're amazing.
Oh, they're
We're moving the
Su-
sheep under the carport.
Yeah, I'm telling you. Listen, we've taken, you know what our
You gotta
property
clean that
looks like.
thing up.
We've taken super overgrown silvopasture or super overgrown areas and turned it into silvopasture just with sheep. You know the area next to where the gazebo is?
Yeah.
Okay. It's like all nice and clear now.
Yeah.
That used to be immature forest.
Oh, yeah.
We just put the sheep there and they were just nom,
Yeah.
nom, 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 ate it all down.
The front pasture where we are,
Mhm.
we did the one sweep through, and then every time we bring them through it, they decimate.
Yeah. And so they will, what's cool is the native grasses, for native pasture, are adept at growing back after being grazed, and in some cases even overgrazed by the sheep. But the stuff that we don't want, the native species that are not conducive to pasture, they have a harder time coming back.
Yeah.
And the sheep will just go after it. And they eat stuff that the cows won't touch. And so you can run the sheep through an area first, and then in our case, run the cattle through, and then our chickens and our turkeys are following behind the sheep and the cattle, cleaning up the mess of the sheep and the cattle, scratching through it, incorporating that into the soil, fertilizing the grass as it's gonna come back. And it's this natural Joel Salatin God-made process
Right.
of combining poultry with ruminants. But anyway, point is, sheep will eat poison ivy, not just like maybe, they love it.
Poison oak too, I'm assuming.
Oh, they love it.
Yeah.
And your sheep were my sheep first, and so they know, right? Like they had this institutional mitochondrial DNA herd knowledge of like, oh, we love that stuff.
Yeah.
And so just
Rope around the carport.
100%.
Just let them in there.
100%. They do an awesome job. So when we first got to our place, going up the driveway to Grandma's house, all those pines, every single one of them was covered in poison ivy.
Yeah.
How do you not know it now?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So I did the axe method, and then let the sheep run through, and they eat everything down to the stump, and then they will literally grab it with their teeth and just drag those ropes off of the trees and eat it. It's awesome.
You also put them in the circle of forest by the house.
Oh, yeah.
Circle of forest.
There's a circle of forest. We already cut the vines because it was
Where
like
it's so thick.
pulling on one tree and then another tree fell and we cut it. They're literally reaching like this far into the air, vines just like
Uh-huh.
this, trying to reach the tree again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy. The vines out here.
Is that briar? The green briar? The green stuff with the thorns on
I
it?
don't think it has thorns, does it?
No.
No,
Okay.
it's just some kind of weird vine. I don't think it's grapevine.
Well,
I
they
don't
eat
know.
briar too, which is awesome.
They've eaten a lot of that stuff before.
Yeah,
We've
they
done it
have.
once there. We
Yeah.
didn't do it again. Beartron said that he came home from night responder with some kind of poison something, so be ready.
Oh, yeah.
That's in their kit, isn't it? The wipes where if you've gotten exposed.
Yep.
Yeah, we
Yep.
have that in stock.
It's in the
too.
wilderness kit. Yep. Yeah, there's Technu in the wilderness kit for cleaning that stuff off.
Skip DeGraff said, we are poke and crawdads. As a kid, my mom came home from work and informed me that I had poke and poison oak in the pot.
Oof.
I have been eating it for 2 years.
Oof.
How are you alive? That's crazy.
Iron Wolf can't hear her. Yeah, that's because we got the microphones on us working
It's
now.
us or it's you guys or me. They always get mad when it's me.
Bring TP or wipes for the class. It's on the packing list. RefugeMedical.com. Look at the training tab. Hit wilderness responder. And by the way, you can, if you would like to, you can break the cost of the class down in up to 4 payments. If you'd like to do that, you can email us or just use the Affirm payment method at the store. What's them's?
So Jake.
Oh.
I'm gonna come close to the mic. He has these shirts. They've got 12C on the sleeve. And Jake, you're in the chat, so you can tell us a little bit more about your shirts.
Yeah, buddy.
But
They're sweat activated
yeah.
PT shirts.
Yep.
Thank you,
He
brother.
wants to give them away.
Okay.
So we are gonna do something today. Any order today gets you entered in to win one of these. We have a size. What are our sizes we have?
This is XL and double
I
XL,
think we
I
have an
believe.
XL and a double XL. So
If you win the double XL, it will have been previously worn.
by TJ. So any order
Gross. I'm not
today-
even washing it. When you get it, you're gonna be like, what is this? What is this?
You're welcome.
Yeah. Are these salt crystals? Yeah, you're welcome.
Extra.
Lick
Oh,
it
the
for
2X is
hydration.
TJ's. No, the 2X is yours.
I thought so.
Okay, so sorry, the XL is up for grabs. So if you
And I
place an
won't wear
order
it because
today,
I'm a large.
will you tell
Yep.
them? Because I'm on mic. Tell them if they place an order today, they get entered to win. I'll draw it tomorrow.
If you place an order today, you get entered in to win one of Jake's sweat activated PT shirts, and Lauren will draw a winner tomorrow and announce it via socials.
The socials,
Boom.
and community post on YouTube. if
The
they win.
12C.
Awesome. I'm at this weird place right now where I'm like starting to figure out that there might be a skinny guy underneath this fat guy. And so like body dysmorphia is very high right now, like very high, and it's weird. It's weird. Like this whole weight loss journey is just very weird psychologically. And it's like every time I see myself on camera, I'm like, oh my gosh, I hate that guy. Like I just like visually, physically, I'm like, I hate that guy, right? And like, I don't know. I don't know if I'll ever be your size, but I've never in my life been skinny. That's never happened. Like even when I was a kid, I was always raw, you know, some combination of husky / raw, you know? And even when I was like super physically fit, I was still 265.
Yeah.
You know, 265, benching 465.
Yeah.
Leg pressing 900 plus, right? And so like being little in my mind is like, I have no map sheet for that.
Yeah.
And then I look at myself on camera, I see these videos that Lauren shoots of me or whatever, and I'm like, ugh, bleh, you know, like, we put that guy on camera? What a mess.
I do the same thing.
And, but it's weird. It's this really weird, I don't know. It's like, it's body dysmorphia, and I'm working on it, you know?
He's
So
been the same. Like he puts on a few pounds, but he's pretty consistent for the last 14 years.
they can't hear you.
Oh.
Yeah. She's saying Heath has been very consistent for the
He does,
last
like, he's got, like,
the last 14 years.
15-pound max that he's probably, right?
Yeah, I typically top out at like 195, and right now I am somewhere in the realm of 190, 191.
It's really annoying taking pictures with him because he looks great, and I'm like, look at my balloon face.
That's awesome, Bertrand. That's awesome. Thank you. I can hear Lauren just fine, says Striker Cade. Okay.
Someone said, unleash the inner striker.
Yeah, man. It's a journey. I'll put it that way. It's a journey, but it's a good journey, right? And like one of the things we talk about in class is you fight with what you brought.
Yeah.
And if what you brought is hypertension, or you know you're just fat and out of shape because you haven't done anything with your body for too long, that's what you got, you know. And that's part of why we use PT as a training tool in class, whether that's you know a classroom setting where we're doing a 1-day or 2-day class, you know, lecture, practical application scenarios. Heath will PT the class, not to be mean, but to get you at the edge of your comfortability.
Yeah.
Because if we have to do any of these things for real in the real world, it's already bad.
Yeah.
It's already bad. It could be it could be night, it could be raining, you could also be injured, you could have been part of a multi-vehicle car wreck. It's already bad. So you fight with what you brought. And so
suffice to say, your body can only do what it can do. So the only way you can combat that is PT.
Exactly. Grow stronger.
Yeah.
And so we do meter out the intensity of PT to each individual student. Some people are like Jake. He just lives for it. He's like, yes, please abuse me. You know, other people.
I don't understand that.
It's a mindset thing, right?
I just want to be in the gym, but I'm not Jake.
Yeah. Jake, like, the world is my gym. But, you know, other people that come to class and they're like, well, I've got a bad knee. And I'm like, are you still going to have a bad knee if you have to do this for real? They're like, yep. I was like, so we should probably figure out how to do this with a bad knee, right? Or whatever your thing is.
Right. Because everybody's got some form of, and I mean this, you know, in love, but everybody has some form of excuse as to why they can't. So back to your point, if it happens in real life and you're dealing with a back injury, you got to figure out how to navigate whatever situation, your circumstance that you're dealing with a back injury.
Right here. Example A. But then you also need to not let your back injury be the reason you get super duper fat and overweight and out of shape.
100%.
Right? Because it cannot actually become an excuse. Like, well, I would do all these things, but my back hurts. And it's like, well, your back's gonna hurt anyway, dummy. Like
Yeah.
Would you rather be like fit and healthy with bad vertebrae, or be, 400 pounds with bad vertebrae?
You know, we get to choose our hard.
Exactly.
You know, and I would submit that it is significantly easier to wake up and go to the gym and do all of the things and not get the sleep that you need versus living a life tied to the doctor and medications. And, you know, I see it blatant and evident in life with not just, you know, people that I love, but it's on both sides in society in general, specifically with people that I love. And it breaks my heart to see individuals who have to, or think that they have to go through, well, this is life now. I'm tied to this medication.
Yep.
Yeah.
And tied to spending God knows how much money just so I can go to the doctor and they're going to keep me alive.
And I mean, Francesco's in the chat. Got to do the best we can with what we have.
Great man right there.
Amazing. Every time I see this guy on socials, he's like, this is me running some more.
Dirt over his
Yeah, he's like, I'm military press these bags of dirt. He messaged me on Instagram. He was planting plants. So he had some dirt in sacks or whatever. And he goes, while I was doing this, I was thinking my whole time what I learned in class about dirt medicine. And he's like, it's Francesco's amazing, right? And one of the things I love about Francesco is not only is he an awesome human being, because he is, he's an awesome human being, but he puts the lie to every one of our excuses.
100%.
Right, like
man.
Francesco's out there running 5Ks and marathons for fun,
And killing it and
legally-
encouraging people
legally
on the
blind,
way.
I
right?
need to get on my freaking treadmill.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, quit complaining.
Yeah, exactly. If Francesco can do it, what's my excuse?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I love that, man. And that all the way goes back to mindset and choose your heart.
Yeah.
Like, life is full of choices. You can choose, and see, most people choose comfort now, which leads to long-term pain, instead of choosing pain now, which leads to long-term comfort. And it's just how far can you, this is a discipline thing, how far can you delay gratification?
Yep.
The further you can delay gratification, generally speaking, the more successful you're going to be at anything. Pick a thing. And then you form those calluses, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual calluses, where like at some point, it's like, I don't even need the gratification.
Right.
This just is. So Lauren, did you have your hand up?
I was gonna say Bertrand said that he was 260 for about 20 years, and now he's at 220, but his heaviest was 350.
Yeah.
So that's amazing.
Good job.
That's
Bertrand.
amazing.
Yeah.
That's heavier than I was.
Yeah.
Which is amazing.
Jake said, "Who's gonna carry the boats?"
Goggins. Goggins is going to carry all of the boats.
All the
That guy
boats.
just
We don't
runs
have to
for,
worry
like,
about it because
2
Goggins
days
got
straight,
it.
And he's like, "Why are you crying?"
But that's so David Goggins was obese
Yeah.
He was.
before that, and then he just woke up one day. I was like, nope, not anymore.
No more.
And if you look at what he pointed himself towards, he's like, what's the diametric opposite of being, morbidly obese? He's like, oh, well, a Navy SEAL. He's like, oh, I'm just going to be a Navy SEAL. And it was that mindset shift where it's like, nope, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm working towards that.
Yeah.
Delaying that gratification, having a goal to point himself towards. And that so many people miss this, man. And we get into reactive mode rather than proactive mode because of all this life happening around us. It's like nobody has any goals. Well, you can't hit a target you can't see.
Yeah.
So if you don't have a goal, you're guaranteed to not hit it,
Yeah.
right? And so, like, I have a goal. I have a goal for weight loss. It's 234 because when I hit 234, I will have lost 100 pounds. And then the next time somebody goes, well, you don't understand, Bear, I can't. I'm like, well, I lost 100 pounds with 19 bad vertebrae and 4 kids and 4 companies and 2 ministries and an assembly and a homestead. So if I can do it, you can do it, right? Kind of like the Francesco model. It's like if he can run a 5K, you can run a 5K.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
because regardless of circumstance or situation or whatever it is that you're going through, it's always going to be what you make of it. Always. If you come to training, the training will be what you make of it.
Yep.
We're going to do our jobs regardless, right? So this is intrinsic in life across the board. It doesn't matter what you go into. Your job is going to be what you make of it. Oftentimes, it's just within your own mentality.
Goggins is a part-time EMT in Vegas. What's up, Mike?
Is he really?
That's crazy.
That's nuts. Could you imagine?
Get off the ground.
Yeah.
Get in the ambulance. You ain't dead. You don't get to die. Who's gonna carry the boats? It's like a 4-year-old. It's like, shut up, Alicia. Put on the Band-Aid. We gotta run. Let's move.
But
Goggins out.
On the flip side of that, like, could you imagine Goggins with some form of, he's legitimately got tangible skills.
Yep.
And operating with those tangible skills with a form of compassion in what it is that he's doing, because you're talking about an incredibly strong human being across the board and going out with the desire to save lives. That's awesome. I just love that thought.
Well, it's the ideal human condition is to point yourself towards a large goal that has significant impact, right? And if you just take that concept and apply it to anyone, whatever it might be, like preservation of life, or like doctor, or how about dad?
Yeah.
Like dad is a really underrated role, but it's a critical role that men have to fulfill. On the female side, mom.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna be a good mom because these children, I gotta raise them up in the way that they should go, right? So like having a large, long-term goal that has significant impact, when you aim towards that and you align the actions in your life towards the accomplishment of that goal, things change. You revolutionize the person that you are. I've heard from a lot of people that don't know me and people that do, and people that used to know me, and people that knew me for a while and don't know me anymore now. They're like, you're not the same person. Yep, you're welcome. Shame on me if I'm the same person today that I was a year ago.
Yeah.
My morals, my ethics, my values should stay consistent, as long as they're good morals, ethics, and values. But the me that I am should be constantly growing, constantly trying to get better, constantly trying to change.
You bring up the goal of being a good dad. When I asked David He's passed, but Lauren's dad. When I asked him if I could marry Lauren, he asked me, specific questions. And I was like, to all of those questions, I don't know. All I know is I want to be a good dad.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only thing that matters. So however everything else fits into that.
Right.
And naturally he was like, damn, that's a good answer. Right. But that's still my goal, and I'm still learning and trying to navigate just that one factor.
Mm-hmm.
Because being a good dad is the pinnacle of the most important thing in my life, period.
Something I saw the other day that was talking about you being fit, being an example to your kids.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
And sitting on the couch, and I'm guilty of this, because I go home and I'm like, I don't feel like doing anything. I've been at work all day, I just don't want to do anything.
Yeah.
That's not a good example.
So,
Like, it's important to me for my sons to think, my dad can beat up your dad.
Yep. It is. It is. I mean, for all the struggle and strife I had with my dad, he was a physically strong man, and he wasn't that big of a guy. Like, on my dad's side of the family, I'm the giant.
Yeah.
They're all relatively small people. There's a lot of Native American blood in them, so they're just not very big people, but gosh, they were strong. I remember my dad, when I was a kid, he would flex his bicep, and it looked like somebody surgically implanted a bowling ball in there, right? And I'd go to work with him, and this was like with power construction before we had all the cool toys, where it'd be like, well, we need a pole over there. We got to run this pole line this way. I'd be like, well, we can't get the trucks to it. So my dad and his guys would take power poles, throw them on their shoulder, and then carry a pick and a digging bar and a shovel and a spoon in their other hand and march the pole in there, dig the hole 6 foot, 8 foot deep, and they make these things called pikes, where you have a hole in the ground, and you go to stand the pole up. You lift up this end of the pole. One guy gets underneath it and deadlifts this end of the pole.
Yep.
And then you stick the pike, another guy sticks the pike underneath it. And then you get under the pole and you push, you take another pike and you walk it up, stick until punk, it drops in the hole.
Yep.
And this was just normal everyday work to them. To tension the wires, now we have these crazy take-up reels which are winches that'll pull the wires. Wasn't done that way. You'd climb up the pole and you'd have the wire running across the pole. It's slack, and you'd have a grip, which is it looks almost like a Chinese finger cuff.
Yep.
You put it on the wire, and then you'd wrap a chain around the pole. So you're climbing up the pole with the chain and the grip, and then a coffin hoist. You ever seen a chain hoist they use in shops?
Yep.
Right, like an automotive shop? So you'd reach as far out as you lean off the pole, put the grip on, wrap the chain around here, hook the coffin hoist from this chain out to the grip, reach out, hook it on, and just click, and you tension that wire to 10,000 pounds. Okay, all day, every day, summer, winter, fall,
Climbing up
spring.
that pole, for one, is not an easy feat, but then you've got the weight of a chain and
that.
all of the gear.
So I knew my dad would beat up your dad. It was known. And all the guys that my dad hung out with were all like that, right? There was
funny you say that. My dad used to be a lineman, and that was it.
There was
boulder in the bicep.
And,
yeah,
so
it cuts him to Daisy Dukes. Oh my gosh.
There was my bassist, who's a dear friend of mine, right? When we were younger, I had my tree company, and it was like a Friday. We come back from work, and it's summer, it was hot, and we're sitting down at the kitchen table, and we had a couple of Budweisers out, just sitting there, just like, kind of, and I don't know, something was off with him, and I'm like, are you okay? Like, well, what's the matter? And he was kind of pissed off, and he was wearing a Morris shirt, one of my company shirts, and he rips it off, and he's like, no, man, I'm not good, and he rips off and throws it at me, like somehow this is like my fault, like I'm paying you to do a job, that kind of thing, but I'm the jerk, and I'm right there with him doing it. He rips it off and throws it at me. My dad was in the kitchen, and as I'm peeling the shirt off of my face, I hear, And so I peel the shirt off my face, and my bassist, Joe, is laid out on the floor. And my dad walks over to the kitchen door, rips the door open, and he looks at my buddy, Justin Crow. He goes, "Crow, pull your effing car around." And so Crow pulls his car around. My dad walks to the back seat, back door, opens the door, picks up my bassist, who's about 225, picks him up, throws him head first into the door. He didn't even touch the back seat. I remember the sound of his head hitting the opposite door, slams the door shut, and he looks at Crow and he goes, "Get him the f out of here." And he comes back to me and he goes, "Don't let anybody ever talk down on your name." And goes back, picks up his cup of coffee, and I was like, he just smooth knocked out this dude. Picked him up and just like throwing a bale of hay, just chucked him into the car. And my dad was in his 50s at that point.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. You know, and he was not as big as you.
Yeah.
You know, and like you're not a small guy, but you're not a big guy. You know,
Yeah.
you meet.
I know I've got a small frame.
You meet Striker Cade, right? You meet Striker Cade, and it's like, "Oh, hello, sir." You know, like that's a big fella, right?
That's a big dude.
My dad was not a big dude, but holy cow, like he just strong.
Yeah.
And there's something, and he had colon cancer, and he had degenerative disc disease, and he had a lifetime of working with his body to feed his family, and was still strong.
Yeah.
You know, so there's something to that example that it sets for your kids. I know we went on a diatribe here, but there's something to that you're setting that example for your children. And even as my dad got older, you know, before he passed, he was still strong.
Yeah.
He wasn't as fit as he was when he was younger because he wasn't doing the work he was doing when he was younger, but he was still freaking strong, man. And that image of him, I remember him young and strong. I don't remember him old and frail and dying, you know? And I think that helps psychologically as well, that the mental images that I have burned in my head is my dad doing cool stuff like that.
Yeah.
Picking up manhole covers, 300-pound manhole cover with one hand, you know? Like, yeah, I remember that, you know what I mean? I don't remember my dad in his end stages of life.
Yeah.
So I think that helps your children as well. Fat old man now, Striker Cade. Dude, if you're fat and old, I'm Jabba the Hutt. Gosh, yeah, Forgotten Friend is a big dude. Yes, he is. Forgotten Friend is, yeah, that's a specimen. Yes, he was
pushing
yeah,
the dog around.
with a 125-pound rucksack.
That is a big dude.
Yeah, it is.
For sure.
He's a mammoth, like.
And I'll say this publicly. Team Crunchy's coming for you. We're coming for you. I'll see you. Hey, save the date.
Y'all need to
I don't even think I'm allowed to say this yet, but I'll get, you know what? I know the president of the board. Save the date. March 13th through 15th. March 13th through 15th, 2026. And Team Crunchy will prevail. I gotta pee. It was 1:30, says Shop Stuff. That's insane.
Good Lord.
I gotta pee. My heat phone. All right, let's put a bow on this.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
All right, y'all.
I'll come around and tell you all.
Come on.
Yeah, pick up
All the
microphone.
deals.
It's over there.
Okay.
Microphone.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Yesterday, Heath and I celebrated our 14-year wedding anniversary.
We did.
So that was cool. We went and had Italian food, and it was like really, really good.
Does that mean we like get to kiss on camera or something? Or? Stop.
Anyways, so I was going to tell you guys about our promos we have going on right now. We have if you're not signed up for the newsletter, right now, I don't know when this is ending, we have a deal where you can get our BPK and you get a free eye injury set, and we're doing that for 4th of July. We looked up to see like what are some of the top injuries that happen every year for 4th of July. And obviously burns, amputations because of fireworks blowing up.
Oh,
but
yeah.
also we found out eye injuries were on the list. So we have the free eye injury set with the BPK. Doesn't matter what size BPK you get. So grab that now.
Yep.
Great deal. We have spots left for our essential responder, our train the trainer, and our wilderness responder coming up. We really wanted to stress, we've had a lot of people, I mean, if it was me, I would understand too. It's a higher price tag for class, but it's for good reason. It's an immersive experience. It's 3 days. It's going to be amazing. If you are having
incredibly high instructor to student.
Oh, yes. We were really adamant about not overpacking this class.
Yes.
So I think there's like 6 instructors for 20
6
people?
instructors, yep.
So
Yeah.
most classes like that have one instructor for a class of 15 to 25.
Mm-hmm.
We have 6 instructors for a class no greater than 20.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So all that to say, you have a couple of payment options. You can do PayPal credit through the website. You can also do Affirm through the website. If you need additional help, make sure to email us at admin@refugemedical.com so we can work with you on that if you're really wanting to go. I know TJ already brought this up yesterday. We weren't supposed to bring this up until next week, but we do have a secret sauce deal going on with the Travel Fac. That's all I'm going to say. If you go to the
Ooh.
website and go to the Travel Fac, you might see something cool there. I'm not going to say anything else. Make sure you guys are getting ready for 4th of July. 5th of July, I will probably be reading aid rendered stories and hopefully not life saved because there weren't any lives that needed to be saved, but possibly life saved stories on July 5th. Don't be one of those people, okay? Don't do anything stupid. And if you're going to watch other people do things stupid, do it from a distance, a safe distance. Make sure you have your burn dressing stuff and stuff to stop massive bleeding on the 4th when you travel and go see fireworks. That's all we've got.
I do want to bring up for the wilderness training, we do have a medical director who is a doctor and just a phenomenal human being in his own right. But with that said, he's consulting us and helping us navigate medical issues and such with students who are basically wanting to take part in the wilderness responder class. Pre-screening, thank you. That's the word I'm looking for. Pre-screening the students and all of that and helping us navigate that road. The reason I bring this up is because the training, which we've already kind of hammered in the front, it's going to be extremely physical, extremely dangerous, especially if you have pre-existing conditions. So don't be offended if our medical director says it's unsafe for this individual to take the class. So there is a factor here.
Grow stronger, come see us next
Yes,
week.
keep training, keep doing what you're doing. If you're already on a path of trying to get yourself better and all of that, keep doing that. We want to train you.
Yeah.
So
It's not that we're picking and choosing people. We're literally relying on the physician on staff to say, hey, this is a bad idea, not only for them, but for you guys, because we might not be able to get them to the emergency room in time.
Right.
So, all right, that's all we have for today, guys. Thank you for being here. You can always reach out to us at refugemedical.com. Hit us up in the chat. One of us will be there. You can call the store phone. If you have training-related questions, you can email training@refugemedical.com. If you have first aid kit or any other things, you can email admin@refugemedical.com. And I'm going to walk around and push the button. So Heath will say bye-bye.
in the meantime, like, share, subscribe, all the things. We love you guys. Thank you so much for being here. Shalom.